Hello again, rabid internet fan base. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land. This is our preview, the weekly one, of all the properties going live on the website for tomorrow, Friday, August 6th, 2021. Before I get to that, guys, I was doing a little count this week of how many Fridays, how many weeks of new properties there are between now and the end of the year, now and our vacation, if you will. Someone's getting a little burnt out. Last year, we debuted properties until December 11th, but I found that because I had mentally checked out at Thanksgiving, we weren't going to make that same mistake this year. We're just going to call it a day right around Thanksgiving and take December off. Anyway, so I was counting roughly how many Fridays between now and then, and looking at the properties that we have purchased, that we are purchasing, that we have under contract, so on and so forth. And pretty much everything right now that we own, have recently purchased, are waiting to get photographed, or are in escrow on, will take us, I believe, until first week of November, something like that. And you're probably all thinking to yourself, hey, Hemingway, nobody cares. I know. But here's the thing, people. I am fascinated by the release schedule and how long it takes to get these things, to buy these properties and then list them. And how often whatever progress, quote unquote, you want to say, is retarded by title companies, number one. And number two, people who can't use DocuSign or agree to accept money or whatever. So oftentimes what should be like 6 weeks in and out is more like 12. Properties we'll be listing today, we actually went into escrow on back in February. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Point being, we got another couple weeks of acquisitions, and then basically we're done for the year. Anything we buy after that won't be listed till January. So, there you go. Of interest only to me, but I appreciate you guys listening. All right. Special thanks to all the people who bought land from us this past week, includes in Alamosa County, Colorado, Samantha, returning customer Samantha. Always a pleasure to see her name come across the email list. Number one. Number two, in Socorro County, Tony, Noli, Heidi, and Barton Walter. Barton Walter, who both purchased the 3-acre properties that, as you recall in last week's video, I pretty much predicted would sell in the next 7 days. We sold the 4-acre, and I am used to this. I have seen patterns emerge over my time doing this. And I know as soon as the 4-acre goes, the 3 acres are next. So we have about a bajillion 2-acre properties in that county. I don't think they'll go as quickly, but I do believe they will begin to sell. So anybody who's been looking, who thinks, I have all the time in the world to choose the best 2-acre property, that time is running out. That is my prediction. We'll see. Who knows? Anyway, but thanks to all of those buyers. Anyway, gang, going live on the website this week, 3 new properties in the Silver State, Nevada, not Nevada, as some people frustratingly mispronounce, Nevada. Boom, we're down here. Last line, we've pretty much sold out of everything but these 3 properties, so we got 3 new ones here, guys. Let me quickly run through these. NYNV 1966 B and C. These properties are not adjacent. They've got about 1 lot separating them. They are, however, both residential lots. Power at the lot line, underground utilities. One of them's got a fire hydrant on it. And they are both in the midst of a pretty developed little neighborhood. That's number one. And then number 2, we got NYNV 4886. This one is for $12,500. It is a lot zone for commercial purposes. We've never done this before. Kind of did this one by accident. But these are all really good properties, so stay tuned with me here. Here's the thing. So all of these went under contract back in February. Quick story. They all went under contract back in February. And what you find when buying land in Nye County, or at least within these subdivisions, what I've encountered, is that somebody who started buying the land, whatever, in the 80s, they started making payments to a bank or something. The bank went out of business. The property was paid off, but the bank either went out of business or was bought out by another bank, which was subsequently bought out by 2 or 3 other banks as time went on, so on and so forth. And there was never a release of lien on the properties. So we got a title company out there that's been working diligently for months to try to get a release of lien on properties that were originally purchased through a lender who went out of business decades ago and was bought out by who knows what. It's pretty interesting. I guess my point is, even if you're not if you're looking at land in Nye County in Pahrump and you don't buy one of our properties, whoever you do buy from, you should get title insurance on it, because it seems to be a problem inherent with a lot of the land out there. That clear title is very difficult to get, which may explain why a lot of these lots aren't as built up as they should be. Anyway, I digress. First property, guys. First 2 properties. Let's talk about these. These are up here in the northern part of Pahrump in Calvada Valley North. both of them off of Fangio Lane. Fangio, let me pull up the plat map here. This is the B property, this is the C property. Again, not adjacent. There's a lot in between them. We just happen to, people who we bought from own both of these lots. So anyway, back to the map. As you can see, guys, this area over here, getting some dense development, at least a couple blocks over. You've got some developed home sites right here, etc. All of these, of course, have all utilities going to them. Power, underground utilities, city water, city sewers, so on and so forth. Another cluster of home sites just right over here. And then, of course, right over here, you've got even more. So this is an area, particularly right here off this main Glen Cove, that is being built up more and more as time goes on. To the photo gallery, people. Hang on. So right now I'm on the photos for 1966C. For the record, guys, we had, it's monsoon season here in Nevada right now. Monsoon season, quote unquote, which means it rains for 13 seconds every second Wednesday, and people think it's like actual rainfall. Anyway, this is what happens when it rains a little bit. Roads get a little dirty, things get washed out, and then like 2 days later they're fine. Water pools for about an hour, and then the sun comes out and everything evaporates 5 minutes later. But anyway, so in case you're like, why do the roads look terrible? That's the reason why. As we go through the photos, people, you will see, hang on, let me go back, that developed home site I was just talking about that sits on Fangio Lane, right basically down the street from these two properties. And over here is the subject property. Power with the lot line, underground utilities in the back, fire hydrant on the land, so water services already extended out to that property in some fashion, water lines, I should say. Blah, blah, blah. And the two properties that we have on this street are largely interchangeable. What I'm showing you here, the fire hydrant is the only real difference between them. But there's this utility easement going along the southern end of the property, the back end, which has the underground utility, boxes sticking out of the ground. It's got little property markers as well. And then, of course, the utility easement back here for power. So these should be very easy properties to develop, as a lot of the neighboring home sites have been developed. And of course, like with a lot of the land out here in Pahrump, you've got the foothills. You've got the foothills sort of property sitting within the shadows of the foothills, waking up to very nice views every day, I guess is my point. As we go to the drone photos, you can see, look at that, the overlay of the property. Again, both of these are about 1/5 of an acre, 0.20 acres, 20% of 1 acre. I hope that's clear. And this is where they are. This is where they sit in regards to that cluster of homes. Developed home site here, developed home site here. You all get the point. You're all very smart people. I'm going on way too long about this one. Point being, we have these two here on Fangio Lane, both very easy to develop lots. Now, gang, let's get to this new property zoned for commercial development. So first off, this one also sits in Calvada Valley North. It's in the northern part of the subdivision. I made videos about all these properties tonight, but this one I go into some explanation on. This is one I did not realize was zoned commercial when I agreed to purchase it. I just thought, oh, that's a pretty big residential lot. That's pretty good. Then we found out it was commercial, and I think it's even better. So just to kind of jump through the main details here. Number one, this is a pretty large property. Let me see. No, of course I don't have the correct photo pulled up. There we go. Okay. This is a pretty large property, number one. Number two, as you can see, it's a corner lot. It sits right here. It's got road access here along Park Ave, and most notably, paved highway access here along Nevada State Road 160. This, of course, is the main road that cuts through the whole town, that cuts through basically this portion of southern Nevada right here. So anybody who's going south into Las Vegas is going to cross through here. Anybody who's going north into basically Death Valley is going to cross through here. And this little commercial lot would be the first thing that you encounter either as you enter town or the last thing you see as you leave town. So to me, this screams ideal location for gas station, convenience store type of thing. But additionally, as you kind of look at this property, you can see that there's not... So dense commercial development, I should say, is down here in this part of the town. There's not a lot up here. So it seems to me that particularly as this region gets built up, you've got a captive audience, particularly if you put a convenience store here, people who don't want to drive 10 minutes down the road and 10 minutes back just to buy beer. To put something like a convenience store here with little slot machines, video poker, something like that. This seems to me like a no-brainer. Of course, gas station convenience store is the thing that jumps out easily at me. This, of course, is an excellent corner lot, which could also be used for something like a fast food drive-through, things like that. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Property also has power at the lot line, number one. Number two, there's a fire hydrant located directly across from the property, so it reaffirms the idea that water service, water lines are available out here. Underground utilities not on the property. There's a lot back here that they're on. Additionally, you can see in the photo here that they sit just right across the street on the other side of the highway. So obviously that's available as well. Anyway, the point is the property has a lot of great selling points, everything that I just mentioned. But that location to me, I think, even though there's not a dense cluster of development around it, commercial development around it, I think this is an ideal spot for a variety of things. And actually, we have the general commercial zoning ordinance. This is an excerpt from it of all the things that this could potentially be used for. Very few things are excluded in this one. Excluding adult entertainment. That's the only thing, shockingly, in Pahrump that you can't put out there. But otherwise, arcade, car wash, automobile repair, bank, banquet hall, so on and so forth. It's a long 2-page list of everything you could potentially use there. As I said, gas station convenience store is the most obvious, but I also think hanging on to it for a few years and selling it to a franchise, McDonald's, a Burger King, a Chick-fil-A, whatever wants to locate out there, is probably also not a bad idea either. Anyway, let me quickly just run through the photos for you here, guys. This is the turnoff from the highway onto Park Ave, where the property is located right here. Again, recent rainfall, quote, monsoon season, unquote. Aforementioned fire hydrant right across the street along Park. Utilities right there at the eastern boundary of the property. And, well, just more photos from around the lot itself. This home site back here, by the way, this is the one with the underground utilities on it. That's what our new photographer out there has reported to us. He didn't actually take a photo of the underground utilities, which would have been nice. But and then this is the property right here. It should also be noted that just north of the subject property by about 500 feet is, ba-boom, Animal Care Center. So you've got a veterinarian up there, another commercial lot, everything between there and here, commercial lots. So, you know, based on how quickly Southern Nevada develops, I suspect that this is something that, this area is something that you're going to see some sort of commercial business enterprise developed within the next few years, the next 5 years, something like that. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm going on way too long. You get the point, guys. 3 new properties out in Pahrump, all of them enviable qualities, enviable features, but particularly this one, etc. Anyway, I will let you go. Before I do, however, I just want to give you guys a sneak preview. Next week's properties, our photographer was out photographing them this week, and he ran into one of the neighbors. Ba-boom! This is one of the neighbors. Look at this guy. Not a llama, as we researched, but an alpaca. There's a little alpaca farm next to the property that we purchased that will go live next week. Again, somewhere in America. Not going to tell you where, people. But somewhere in America, alpaca farm right next to a piece of land that will be available for you to purchase next week. All right, gang, that's all for me. Have a great weekend. See you in next week's videos. Thanks for watching.